Stay tuned and check out my top 10 movie-based Marvel Legends of 2020. And you know the score, none of these made my top 10. Pow, and welcome back to the channel, Dan Who Reviews. As always, my name is Dan W. Make sure you are following me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. And it's that time of year again where I like to celebrate the year that was in Marvel Legends, break it down into categories and do some top 10 lists. So I already have up my top 10 comic-based Marvel Legends on the channel right now. I'll put the link in the description. Today's video, however, is my top 10 movie-based Marvel Legends of 2020. Now this one is a little bittersweet as I usually do a top 10 MCU Marvel Cinematic Universe top 10 figure list. However, 2020 was the first year in a decade we never got a single MCU movie. Unfortunately, nobody's fault, but that means not many MCU figures got released as the film schedules were moved around. But we did get some movie figures as we managed to get some Fox X-Men figures and also a Sonyverse figure sneaked in there as well. So why not just celebrate all of that and do my top 10 movie-based figures? So as long as that figure is portraying a character from a movie, it is qualified to be in my top 10 list. So let's get into it, because if you couldn't tell, there aren't even 10 figures on the table. These unfortunately didn't make my top 10 list. That doesn't mean they're not great figures. It's just maybe I have a little bit more fixation to some of the other characters that were created in figure form this year. So let's do a quick round table. So firstly, on this side, we've got Red Guardian, Black Widow, and Yana Valova, aka David Harbour, Scarlett Johansson and Florence Pugh from the Black Widow movie that has been delayed until May of 2021. So I'm very much looking forward into that movie, as that is where we're going to see Black Widow in a white uniform and maybe a new Black Widow takeover. And I'm always looking forward to seeing David Harbour in anything. So yeah, looking forward to that movie. But since we haven't seen it yet, I've got no fixation to these particular characters yet. So I didn't think they'd be worthy of being in the top 10, but they're still great figures. I'm hoping we still maybe see some more Black Widow movie figures in 2021 since the film was delayed. I'd like to see David Harbour's Red Guardian in his mask like we see in the trailer, as we never got a helmeted head. That would have been a nice touch. And he's also got a little bit more grey in his beard as well. So these were clearly made from concept designs, I'm sure, or maybe costume fittings, who knows. But still, looking forward to Black Widow. Like these figures, they're in my collection, but didn't quite make the top 10. Then in the middle here, we've got Mystique. And then we also have Eric Lenshaw, aka Magneto, from the very first X-Men film. Now, this is a great Mystique, no doubts about it, worthy of being in the top 10. However, it's just not a character I would have picked from that movie to be made in figure form just yet. She was down the list for me personally. However, what Hasbro have done is a great job. She's a great figure. Don't regret having her in the collection. Just didn't make my personal top 10. After all, this is my personal list. And then obviously Magneto. I do prefer obviously the old school Magneto, but this is the more modern costume from the Days of Future Past. So you're probably better off putting your Michael Fassbender head on this Magneto, even though I do appreciate that we got both heads in there. So it didn't quite make the top 10, but he's still a worthy figure. And then unfortunately, Megasonic Teenage Warhead didn't make the top 10 list either. She came 2-pack with Deadpool, who, let's be honest, we may see in my top 10 list. But yeah, didn't quite make the top 10. Again, out of all the characters in Deadpool, I'm happy we have her. But again, not one of my favourite characters, but still a very nice figure and very accurate as well. Great head sculpt. And then here, right on the end, we have Patrick Stewart's Professor X, Charles Xavier from the Logan movie. Now, this is a great figure. I'm a little bit sad I didn't put him in my top 10, but there's a Professor X I prefer, so I'll just leave it at that. But still, I did not expect to get an old Charles Xavier in my collection, but happy I have him in his wheelchair and all. But yeah, there's a Professor X I prefer, and you may see him in the list. So without further ado, these were my honourable mentions, aka all the figures that never made the top 10 list. But yeah, let's get into it. Here is my official top 10 Marvel Legends movie-based figures of 2020. Kicking us off at number 10, we have Zazie Beetz' portrayal of Domino from Deadpool 2. Now, I was very happy to be getting figures from Deadpool 2, the movie, loved the film, and now I have some figures for the shelf, and some great figures at that. So Zazie Beetz came with a big afro and all, and we didn't just get one big afro, we got an interchangeable head as well that has her goggles on from that scene where the X-Force are on the plane. She has some nice Uzis that she can hold in her hands, no problem at all. She has 2 trigger fingers, and she also has a gun harness down here as well. It's an actual gun as well, not just sculpted in the harness, which I always appreciate. And if you take a look at the figure, like take a closer look, there is no joints, no pegs at all. None on the elbows and none on the knees. There's usually no pegs on female elbows anyway, but still, it makes for a very nice, slick action figure. And I've been saying it for a while, but this is the future of Marvel Legends. And when they do a movie figure this good, I don't know how they can do better. It is very, very nice. I like the simple character design. It is clearly Domino from Deadpool 2, and she is the perfect companion for the other figures. So at number 10, it is Domino. Staying in the Deadpool franchise, at number 9, we have Josh Brolin's Cable. One of those few men that can jump universes. He is Thanos in the MCU, and he is Cable in the Deadpool franchise. And hopefully we get to see him again, as he was very good in the movie. So this is a great figure as well, by the way. So as you can see, his weapon actually comes apart. You can add pieces to it like he does in the film, which is a nice touch, nice futuristic weapon. But you put that to the side, and just the figure itself is very nice. Now, they could have maybe did a little bit more detail, especially on the arm, as they've done all the hard work. They've done all the sculpting, but not enough paint detail for me to really make it pop. That's why he unfortunately only stays at number 9 on my list. But you get the teddy bear as well, which is a nice touch. All of these sort of armor, ammo pieces and stuff on his harness. There's an also other sort of gun attachment as well, which is a nice touch. Now, the cape's a little bit hard, so obviously it just sits on the shoulder. Marvel ain't going to do soft goods for a while, so I don't mind it. But again, those type of changes would have really made this figure pop. The head sculpt is great, though. Definitely looks like Cable. Definitely looks like Josh Brolin from the film, with his eye and the hair sort of sculpted very nicely like the movie. So yeah, so it is great to have some of these figures that we never thought we'd get all in one go. So yeah, as I said, perfect companion for Domino, and of course maybe Deadpool will show up on this list later. But yeah, at number 9 we have Cable. At number 8, I told you we'd see him again. It is of course Charles Xavier, aka Professor X. So this is Patrick Stewart's younger version, even though he's still quite old here. But you know what I'm talking about? X-Men celebrated its 20th anniversary this year since the first film was released, which gave Hasbro the opportunity to give us some of these figures. So it is great to finally have the Patrick Stewart version of Charles Xavier forever in plastic on my shelf, and as it is an iconic role. And out of the 2 Charles Xavier figures we got this year, I did prefer the younger Charles, even though he's still quite old here. But you know what I'm talking about. As again, it's just great to have this character. Now, it is only a guy in a wheelchair, unfortunately. That's why he's number 8 on the list. But he makes it to number 8. Just for the iconic role and just to have this guy in figure form. But it is just a Marvel Legend suited figure with a Patrick Stewart head on there. But it is very accurate as well, by the way. I really like it. And what was great about this 2-pack with Magneto and Charles Xavier is they gave us the younger heads. So if you wanted to, you could have the James McAvoy head on this Charles Xavier. So that was a great touch to have the young and old versions of these characters portrayed in plastic. But for me, it will always be Charles Xavier, Patrick Stewart on the shelf, I think. And yeah, very nice. The wheelchair even works as well. So there you go. He's wheeling and dealing. But yes, at number 8, Charles Xavier. At number 7, we have Stan the Man Lee. I don't think that's his official name, but that's what I call him. It is great to finally have Stan Lee in plastic to forever make a cameo on our shelves. And I know what you're saying, Dan, this is a movie list. Well, technically, this is a movie figure. This is a figure of Stan Lee's cameo from the very first Avengers movie. So technically, it's an MCU figure. So now you can have your very own Stan Lee making a cameo on your MCU shelves. And that's what I love. He is on my shelf proudly with the rest of the MCU figures, making his cameo. And he is a legend. He is worthy of being forever in plastic. So yeah, again, it's just a suited Marvel Legends body. That's why he's low on the list. But he could have been number 1 just for being Stan Lee. Let's be be honest. And it's a great portrayal of Stan. He's smiling, he's happy, that's how we want to remember him. So that face sculpt is perfect. So yeah, I'm so happy to finally have him after Hasbro teased us for years with all those leaked shots. But now he is officially here. Stan Lee in figure form makes it to number 7 on my list. At number 6, we have Black Widow. Now, in my opinion, this is the best version of Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow we have in plastic form. Now, it is obviously the suit that she is wearing in the new Black Widow movie. It was meant to come out in March 2020. That's why we got a couple of Black Widow movie figures in 2020. However, the film's been delayed until May of 2021. But still, that doesn't mean we can't celebrate a good figure when it gets released. And we've seen the trailer, we've seen pictures of her wearing this uniform, and Hasbro have nailed it. It is spot on, it is beautiful, it is my mind's eye of Black Widow with the gold, the blacks, the greys, and even has a place now to store her batons as well. And her guns are actual guns in a holster, which I appreciate. Even though they're tiny, they're still working holsters. That is how we want to see our weapons on our legends. So yeah, the best Scarlett Johansson Black Widow figure is worth celebrating. She's worthy of being on the list, and she sits at number 6. And at number 5, we have this beast of a figure. It is Cull Obsidian of the Black Order. Now, Hasbro managed to re-release the Black Order in the Children of Thanos box set. It was an Amazon exclusive this year where they gave all the figures a slight little upgrade, but the person who got the biggest upgrade was, of course, Cull Obsidian. The original figure was created off concept art that never actually made it into the film, so it wasn't Hasbro's fault, but now they found a way to give us a more accurate version. Now, to be honest, this is one of my favourite figures. It is worthy of being at number 1. However, I've moved him to number 5 because I wanted to celebrate the re-release, but it is essentially a re-release of a figure, and some of the other figures in this list moving forward are their first time being made. So I just wanted to give them a little bit more spotlight. However, this is still one of my favourite figures. He sneaked into number 5. All of the figures in that box set are an upgrade in my opinion, but this one is the one that needed it the most, and this figure is a beast. It is amazing. Honestly, if this is number 1 on your list, I wouldn't even argue with you. Cull Obsidian, number 5. At number 4, we have the last Black Widow figure in this list. It is Taskmaster from the movie. Now again, I've already explained we have not seen the movie, but we have seen the trailers, and Taskmaster is clearly the main villain of that. And this sort of modernized outfit takes inspiration from the comic designs and blends them perfectly into the real world in the MCU. And I cannot wait to see Taskmaster in that movie. So my love for villains and the MCU managed to get this guy to number 4 on my list because it's a great figure. So he comes with lots of accessories and weapons as well. So I've got him holding his trademark shield and his sword. Now the shield in my opinion is a little bit small, but I can forgive it for the time being. Maybe we'll see another release of this. We don't even know who is Taskmaster within the movie. I'm assuming that's a spoiler, but maybe when the film is out we can get an unmasked head and finally see who is under the mask. There's rumours it's a girl, it could be a guy, nobody knows, but I'm very excited to see Taskmaster in the film finally, mimicking all the Avengers powers and abilities and movesets and whatnot. So yes, great figure. I think people forgot about this guy because again Black Widow got delayed, but yeah, just for on the shelf it pops with all the oranges and blues and the metallic shines under the light. Great figure, great weapons, great MCU villain, I hope, fingers crossed. But for now, he's number 4. Coming in at number 3, we have movie Venom. Now, if you know my opinion on the Venom movie, then trust me, this surprises me as much as it does you, because I'm not the biggest fan of what Sony are doing with Venom. Just my personal opinion, I would have rather trusted our Lord and Saviour Kevin Feige with the symbiote, but I guess Sony need their piece of the Marvel pie. And again, Sony were meant to release Venom 2 with Carnage this year, and of course Morbius as well, but both of them have been delayed until 2021. So yeah, maybe we will see some more Sonyverse figures moving forward. But for now, and live action movies, Venom is the first one. Now, we never got an unmasked Tom Hardy head. I've seen a lot of customizers do some really good ones, but Marvel and Hasbro did give us just another smiley sort of Venom head and some interchangeable hands, which does make this figure nice, so you can change up the display. But this is an all new mold with some great articulation, definitely looks like the version of Venom from the movies, so it has to be celebrated. It is honestly a great figure. Even if you're not a fan of that movie like me, it could fit in a comic display? Maybe. But yeah, definitely looks like Venom though. You could straight away tell who it is from looking at him. So they've done a great job with this. Again, and it shows you how good of a figure it is, because sometimes my opinion on the character can sway where a figure lands on a vote. So he jumps at number 3, even though I'm not the biggest fan of this version of Venom. So again, such a great figure, worthy of being at number 1. So if it's in your number 1 list, I'm not complaining, won't argue with you. But for me, the character that it's portraying from that Venom movie pushes it to 3rd place. But still, the bronze medal's not a bad shout in my top 10 list. So at number 3, Venom. At number 2, we have Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, or Wolverines. As yes, I'm cheating. I couldn't decide between the 3 of them, and all of them are so good. They all deserved attention and spotlight. So combined, Hugh Jackman Wolverine lands at number 2 in my top 10 list. It's my list, my rules, and this counts. They're all the same character, all the same actor portraying the same character, and they're all so good, they're worthy of attention. So we have Logan Wolverine here, and then we have, I think this is the Wolverine's origins, and then in the middle we have an X-Men Wolverine. Again, I'm not too sure, as Hugh Jackman sort of looks similar throughout of them all, apart from Logan, of course, but still, all of these are so good. Now, when these first got revealed, I thought my favourite would be the tank top version, and it was for a while, but then I got the jacketed version, and for some reason, this just looks great as well, as just Hugh Jackman, the iconic role of Wolverine. He made it his own throughout the years, and for nearly 2 decades, everyone has known Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and now we have him in plastic, in figure form, for our shelves. Now, I know there was previous toys back in the day, but let's be honest, none of them hold a candle to these guys. These are the ultimate Hugh Jackman Wolverines, and it doesn't matter which one your favorite is, because they are all great. And to be honest, my opinion changes every day. As I said, I thought the white tank top version was, and then the jacketed version was, and then we got the Logan, and I love this, and the beaten up head and the old sort of man Logan style. So yeah, all 3 of these are great. I'm just so happy to finally have Hugh Jackman in figure form for my list, as I never picked up the old versions because they weren't worthy. These ones definitely are. Hasbro did a great job, so bravo. I know this is something they've been wanting to do for a while, and it's so glad that they made it happen. And yeah, I just am a little bit sad that we may not get some other of the X-Men characters from the Fox universe to stand with Wolverine on the shelf, as we sort of need the original Cyclops, Jean Grey, Storm, maybe even a Rogue. Still, who knows what the future holds, but I will still gladly place Wolverine on the shelf regardless. As I said, just for the iconicness of having Hugh Jackman portrayed in figure form on the shelf as Wolverine is worthy of being at number 2. So I've been rambling long enough, but I am curious. Let me know in the comments which one of these is your favourite Wolverine, because honestly, my opinion changes every day. And yes, I'm cheating, but I don't care. At number 2, we have Hugh Jackman's portrayal of Wolverine. This year's number 1 Marvel Legend movie-based figure is, of course, Deadpool. Who else could it be but the Merc with the mouth? Now, people loved Deadpool before Ryan Reynolds donned the costume and thrust him into pop culture spotlight, and now everybody, including your nan, probably knows who Deadpool is. And now we have that version of Deadpool in figure form, and what a figure it is. Deadpool is just a fun character. As I said, is a mercenary with all these weapons, is just quick-witted and funny, and the films are great, and I hope Ryan Reynolds gets to continue playing Deadpool in some sort of version in the MCU or his own universe. Who knows? The multiverse is going to answer a lot of questions that no one's asked yet, I believe. But still, for a figure, I did not expect to get a Deadpool. And this year, as I said, we didn't just get Deadpool. We got Cable, Domino, Mega Sonic Teenage Warhead. We got the crew. And maybe in the future, we will see Colossus and Juggernaut. Who knows? But let's be honest, we needed Deadpool. We already know we're getting a second sort of more grey, ashy version of Deadpool next year, who's going to be single packed. But for me, of course, it's all about the red and the black Deadpool. So he comes with lots of weapons. I think the only frustrating thing about this figure is that these guns here are a tease because they are moulded onto the figure. But a few people have heated them up, managed to pop them out. I'm not too concerned. They're fine in the holsters. He's got other guns to hold. He has lots of weapons. It's Deadpool. But he does have his sword as well, very nicely stored in the back. He's got a knife down here. He's got interchangeable hands as well. It's just a fun figure to pose and play. I think the ACB artists love this guy again. So just for character preference, personally, he makes it to number 1. As for a character, I love him, and then to have it, the movie version in figure form is amazing, and one when it's this good. The only thing that's missing for me personally is an unmasked Ryan Reynolds head. It would have been great to get a Ryan Reynolds before he's obviously got cancer and he's all scarred up, and then one after as well. It would have been great, but I guess that's a likeness rights issue. Who knows? Maybe Hasbro can work on that in the future. Ryan Reynolds is a very busy, popular man. I guess that's not an easy task, but still, has the man with the mask, of course. It is so good. Worthy being at number 1, I'm sure you will agree. Just a fun figure. And as I said, Marvel Legends, they're toys after all, people. So fun factor is very important. And this is a figure that you can't put down once you've got it. Honestly, so good. And Deadpool, the character, is so popular right now. Why not at number 1? Even though I liked him before everyone else did. Trust me, the Merc with a Mouth has been around for a long time. X-Force and all that good stuff. But yes, at number 1, we have Deadpool. Pow! So there you have it, my top 10 movie-based Marvel Legends of 2020. And I only cheated a little bit, so I'm sure you can forgive me. After all, it's my list, my rules, and I just think all of these figures are worthy of attention and a ramble, and I'm sure you can agree. But let me know your top 10 lists in the comments below, or at least your top 3 movie figures of 2020. Always appreciate seeing those comments below. And before anybody asks, the Miles Morales Into the Spider-Verse Stiltman Build-A-Figure wave is technically a 2021 release. I know a few people got it early, but via Hasbro, it is the first wave of 2021. So they did not qualify to be on this movie list, but maybe they'll make the list next year. We shall see. Some great figures there, but there are also some great figures on the table that were worthy of some spotlight. And yeah, I know we never got a lot of MCU figures this year, but the ones we got were great, and the other figures we got from the movie verses were great as well, Sony and Fox. So yeah, here's to lots more MCU figures, Sony figures, Fox figures in 2021. The future is bright, people. Hopefully lots more gaps to be filled in the collection. And please, I need an MCU fix, Hasbro. Please don't wait too long before you give us some figures. We got lots of Disney Plus TV shows and hopefully 4 MCU films coming out in 2021. So please, lots more MCU figures in 2021. You know what to do, people. Check out the videos tab, find the playlist, but most importantly, please, hit that subscribe button. And as always, if you're in a position to support the channel, you can do that on Patreon. Links in the description below. And you can tweet me these days as well at Dan Who Reviews. Links on the screen, links in the description. But until then, people, my name is Dan W. And I will, of course, see you on the next one.